Hi everyone, thanks for watching this presentation. I'm Melina Saoulidou, the Digital Marketing Assistant at Sibelius. And with me today is Dr. Kieron Edwards, the CSO at Sibelius. So we are very excited today to show you our ingredient Sibelius LactoMato and speak about its benefits in cardiovascular health and men's health. Let's speak about the men's health market. There is a high demand for new products in the male health category. Some of the top health concerns for men is cardiovascular health, prostate health, reproductive health, and healthy aging. One key problem in particular in male category is infertility. On top of that, based on statistics, 71% of men agree that they are more likely than women to ignore health problems. A little background about us. We are an R&D company. We develop natural and clinically backed ingredients. All our ingredients are developed with great focus on traceability and quality control, and that's all about our ChronoScreen platform that help us identify the best ingredient from the best sources. So we have successfully launched 4 ingredients: Sibelius Shades, Chamomile, LactoMato, and Myceliate. All our products help us meet the customer demands. So they cover cognitive, memory, relaxation, immunity, heart health, and men's health. Let me introduce you Sibelius LactoMato. Sibelius LactoMato is a natural, high bioavailable, clinically backed ingredient. It is patented, protected, and based on clinical studies, it is beneficial for heart health and male health. Moving forward, Kieron Edwards is going to explain us why Sibelius LactoMato is so unique.
Yes, so thank you, Melina. I'd like to talk a little bit about Sibelius LactoMato and our unique solution here. A lot of people know very well the benefits of lycopene. It's a well-studied compound, a carotenoid, and there's been a lot of epidemiological data to support the beneficial effects of lycopene on people's health. So there are strong correlations between tomato intake and lycopene levels in the blood and reductions in things like all-cause mortalities. So we know it's having a good effect on people's health. And also we know, people are well aware of the benefits of the Mediterranean diet, for instance, and tomatoes are a key part of that. So high levels of lycopene coming from there. Now, one of the main activities is for lycopene, it's a very powerful antioxidant, but that also means it's very prone to being oxidized. And also we have problems about bioavailability. So although it's a very good and active ingredient, there are problems with us getting it into our body in an active form. So at Sibelius, we've developed Sibelius LactoMato, which is a complex of lycopene and extract from tomato containing lycopene and whey protein, which really helps to improve the bioavailability of lycopene, because if you're just intaking it from tomatoes, for instance, fresh fruit, the bioavailability is very poor. So as I mentioned, epidemiological data is showing really nice effects of lycopene on human health. And obviously at Sibelius, ChronoScreen is our platform to help us develop ingredients. So we like to see ingredients that extend the lifespan in our model organism, C. elegans. And you can see from the chart here that by feeding worms, C. elegans worms with our Sibelius LactoMato ingredient, we get a nice extension in lifespan. So it's helping prolonging the lifespan of these worms. So showing really nice, strong anti-aging effects of the ingredient. And we can also compare it to other ingredients that are sort of play in the same kind of area of health benefits. So for instance, saw palmetto, which has obviously been linked to prostate benefits and men's health benefits there. And we get nice equivalent activity and extension of lifespan on our ChronoScreen platform. So we have a really nice, powerful ingredient here that can help our model organisms to live longer. So we have strong anti-aging benefits. But as I mentioned before, the problem with lycopene itself is around bioavailability. And so by complexing it with this whey protein, we're able to massively improve the bioavailability of lycopene in people. So a study done in 36 healthy human volunteers, where we were looking to understand how much lycopene was actually getting into their blood. Because as I said earlier, there's a strong correlation between lycopene levels in blood and reductions in things like all-cause mortality. And you can see from this study, if we look at the chart here, we're looking at lycopene levels in people's blood at the start of a study versus the end of the study. And you can compare against a standard placebo in the gray. You can see that there's basically no change in the level of lycopene in people's bloods. Whereas with the Sibelius LactoMato, we see a massive increase in blood lycopene levels from taking that. And it's as good, if not better, to the increase we see in tomato paste. So tomato paste, the heat processing that goes on with that actually does improve the bioavailability over standard tomatoes, and it's often considered as a gold standard for lycopene absorption there. And the Sibelius LactoMato product is showing as good, if not better, bioavailability than tomato paste. And you can see from the data there that we're getting about 240% more lycopene in individuals' blood than just standard tomatoes. So moving on from there, so we've got an ingredient that is getting into people's blood, and we obviously want to be able to show that it's doing having some beneficial effects in people. Now, clearly, as Melina, as you mentioned earlier, there are, in terms of men's health areas, people are interested in their cardiovascular health, and people are very well aware of cholesterol levels and lipid oxidation and negative effects of that on our cardiovascular system. And indeed, you can see from studies where people have been taking the Sibelius LactoMato product over a series of weeks, we can reduce the levels of oxidation that are going on in the lipoproteins over the course of the study through intake of a 350 milligram daily supplementation of lactolycopene, Sibelius lactolycopene, which is containing around 7 milligrams of lycopene there. And we get over a 70% reduction in the lipoprotein oxidation by 2 weeks of taking the product. So it's a fairly rapid reduction in those levels. And people obviously, think about cholesterol and people think of good cholesterol and bad cholesterol. And actually, one of the key things here is, although the LDL is considered bad cholesterol, it's typically the oxidation of this that it really causes the problem. So by reducing this oxidation rate through intake of the lactolycopene, we can have a real benefit there. And taking that further, just to show, as well as having this reduction in oxidation of the lipoproteins that are circulating through the blood system, we're also interested to see, well, what are the actual beneficial effects on the health of theirs. So another study was conducted in 72 subjects where we have 36 healthy volunteers and 36 who were cardiovascular disease patients. And they either taking placebo or intaking the Sibelius LactoMato product. And what we're looking here in these charts is the blood flow. So vasodilation, the relaxation of our blood vessels and letting blood flow through there is a real good indication of the health of our vasculature. And what we want to be able to see is that our vasculature can respond well to signals and can dilate and reduce blood pressure. And if we compare the sort of response of our cardiovascular disease subjects versus healthy subjects at the start of a study, what we're looking at here on this chart on the left-hand side is effectively the percentage change in the blood flow increase in our forearms as we introduce acetylcholine, which causes the blood vessels to dilate. And you can see that in our healthy volunteers, we get this nice increase in blood flow versus when we increase our levels of acetylcholine, which is what we'd expect to see as a nice healthy response. Whereas in our cardiovascular disease patients, we get a significant reduction relative to the healthy controls. There's much lower increase in our blood flow, forearm blood flow, compared to the healthy controls. Now, after 56 days of the Sibelius lactolycopene supplementation, you can see that our cardiovascular disease subjects are showing basically the same response as the healthy subjects did at day 1. So we've really showing nice, strong improvements to the function of our vasculature through the taking of the Sibelius LactoMato. And there's a 53% increase in endothelial function in patients over that 8-week period. Another area of interest that you mentioned for men is male fertility. We know that there's potential issues developing in that area with reductions in male fertility occurring over time. So clearly men's health is an area that is important to many consumers. And now there's several clinical studies showing lycopene having beneficial effects on sperm health. And we've got specific studies on Sibelius LactoMato showing improvements to semen quality. So in 60 healthy male volunteers in a double-blind placebo-controlled study, we can see that we get improvements to sperm motility and morphology in there. So that should feed through to improvements in male fertility. So we're now getting benefits on both sort of cardiovascular health and male fertility coming through from Sibelius LactoMato consumption. A last area which is of great interest to men as well is this benign prostatic hyperplasia, which essentially is a condition where the prostate enlarges, and for instance it causes effects like having to get up several times in the night to go to the toilet because it's pressing on your bladder. So it can have some real kind of negative effects on our lifestyle. We know sleep is a very important thing to have a healthy life. You know, if we're not sleeping enough, it can really increase inflammation, increase stress levels, etc. So sleep is an important factor. So by helping to manage conditions such as this, we're going to improve those effects and have general benefits on health as well. So there have been studies done on lycopene showing improvements in there. So this is another area where Sibelius LactoMato is likely to feed through to have benefits to the consumer.
Thank you very much, Kieron, for this information. So it looks like Sibelius LactoMato is having beneficial effects across multiple areas of health.
Mm-hmm.
What do we know about how it does this?
Sure. I mean, obviously, as you mentioned, lycopene is the main ingredient in there. It's a complex extract, an oleoresin extracted from tomato. So it's not just lycopene that's present in the Sibelius LactoMato product, but lycopene is very much kind of a key active ingredient in that extract. And what's typically considered the main mechanism of action for lycopene is this strong antioxidant activity. So it's able to go in there and mop up free radicals and, you know, as we saw, prevent the oxidation of lipoproteins, for instance. So it seems to be that this antioxidant activity is the main activity that's driving the beneficial effects of lycopene, and also the fact that we have Sibelius LactoMato improving the bioavailability, we're getting higher levels of that lycopene into our system to have those beneficial effects.
That's very interesting. Thank you so much. So you also mentioned that tomato paste is the gold standard of lycopene viability. Why doesn't one just consume tomato paste instead of LactoMato?
Yeah, of course. Yeah. The main reason would be the dose you're going to have to take of the tomato paste. So, I mean, obviously, tomato paste isn't standardized on lycopene levels, so it will vary from tube to tube. What typically you'd have to do to get an equivalent dose of lycopene as you're going to get from the single capsule, 350 milligram dose of Sibelius LactoMato, you're probably talking at least 5 grams of tomato paste, more likely closer to 10 grams or even higher potentially. So that's quite a large amount of tomato paste to be consuming on a daily basis. So yeah, it's not an optimal delivery format, shall we say.
I see. Thank you for that. So just to follow up on that, Sibelius LactoMato was 240% more bioavailable than standard lycopene. Mm-hmm. Could one not just take a larger amount of lycopene?
Yeah, another good question. Of course, it's possible to take higher doses of lycopene. As we said, we've got improved bioavailability, but yeah, if you take a higher dose, you will get a higher level into the blood of standard lycopene. The process of producing the Sibelius LactoMato, we've got this complexing with whey protein, and what that does, that will slow the progression of the ingredient through the digestive tract, which helps to improve the absorption and is why we get the higher bioavailability. It was a key part of why we get higher bioavailability. if you were just to take higher levels of lycopene, the sort of the dynamics, the peak levels of lycopene and how long it would take, how long it would be above certain threshold levels in the blood would differ between Sibelius LactoMato and just a higher dose of lycopene. So we couldn't be sure that the beneficial effects that we're seeing in studies with Sibelius LactoMato would be present in the same way with just a higher dose of lycopene. Another key feature is, and as we just touched on, the antioxidant effect of lycopene is one of the key activities, and so we want that to happen inside our system. It's very good at mopping up those free radicals. That also means it's very prone to being oxidized when it's not doing that. We want those activities. It's great, but we want them to be happening inside our body, not whilst it's sat outside as an ingredient. So another benefit of the Sibelius LactoMato encapsulation process is that we're also protecting that lycopene from oxidation. So it will improve we're getting a more effective antioxidant effect inside our body coming from that.
That was great information. Thank you.
No problems.
So moving forward, let's talk for a moment about LactoMato features. LactoMato, it's a patented lycopene whey complex. It is available in classic powder and non-oxidizable format. So Sibelius LactoMato, its clinically tested dose is 350 milligram daily. And it's also supported by long-term stability data with long shelf life, 48 months. Lastly, Sibelius LactoMato is TGA registered and verified under the non-GMO project. Moving forward, having a look at the delivery format, Sibelius LactoMato can be used in wide range of formats such as gels, drinks, jellies, powders, capsules, and tablets. Thank you very much for watching. Kieron, thank you very much for being here and for this great information.
Thank you very much.
If you want to learn more about us, please do not hesitate to contact us through our social media and our website. Thanks again.
Thank you all.